On July 15, 2016, a faction within the Turkish military attempted to overthrow the government and failed. Here's what happened. At 10 p.m, things just didn't seem right in Istanbul and Ankara. People began to notice the sounds of jets and gunfire. Fighter jets were seen flying low. Soldiers blocked roads and bridges with tanks, preventing access to vehicles. People realised something was up. Soon after, military helicopters and jets began firing on people and targeting state buildings. Several government headquarters were bombed or raided by puttschists, including media outlets which were forced off air. Everyone was impatiently anticipating an official statement by the government on what was happening. At about 11:30 p.m, the Turkish PM at the time, Binali Yıldırım, announced a certain group within the military was attempting to overthrow the government.
Bu kalkışmayı yapanlar, bu çılgınlığı yapanlar, bu kanunsuz eylemin içerisinde olanlar da en ağır şekilde bedelini ödeyecek. Ve asla bu gibi kalkışmalara pabuç bırakmayacağız.
He called the attempt illegal and said those involved would be gravely punished. Meanwhile, the Turkish armed forces announced it didn't support the coup. At 12:13 a.m, puttschists then used the country's public broadcaster TRT to announce martial law and a curfew, saying the political administration has lost all legitimacy and has been forced to withdraw. At 12:30 a.m, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan addressed Turkey on CNN Turk using FaceTime and urged everyone to take to the squares to protest the coup attempt, stating, "There is no power higher than the power of the people. Go to the squares and give them their answer." Throughout the night, the Selah was repeatedly called from mosques across Turkey, encouraging people to gather and resist the coup. Selah prayers are traditionally recited on Fridays and during funerals, but are also used to rally people. Turks across the country flocked to the streets and squares in defiance, and the putschist attacks only intensified.
Never. Hayır! Vurun! Hayır! Hayır! Kaç, ateş ediyorlar, kaç!
Puttschists were now opening fire on demonstrators, running them over with tanks, and jets repeatedly bombed the Turkish parliament while lawmakers were inside. But despite the putschist hostility, protesters were adamant on resisting and spent the night demonstrating. At 3:20 a.m, Erdogan finally lands in Istanbul. Police forces carried out several operations that night, and in a couple of hours, police began detaining puttschists and taking back control of seized areas. The attempted coup was orchestrated by a terror group called Feto, whose leader is US-based Fethullah Gülen. Government and civilian action thwarted the coup attempt in just a couple of hours. But that night, 251 lives were lost, and more than 2,000 others were injured. The coup attempt was successfully resisted. Turks from all walks of life in the hundreds of thousands took to the squares to celebrate their democratic victory, each night for weeks on end.